Hey everybody, 8-Bit Josh here, and welcome back to Planet Zoo and Wildlife World. And today we're working on the habitat for our African elephants. And this is actually a pretty short time lapse. It's only about 2.5 minutes long or so. It's probably the shortest time lapse we've had on the channel, and that's mostly because we're really just working on the actual habitat itself. The big building there, the dome, we actually built on a live stream. So unfortunately don't have a time lapse of that build, but the VOD is up if you want to go check out my Twitch channel. You know how I always like to plug my Twitch channel. The link to that is always down in the description. I highly recommend checking it out and going and give me a follow if you're interested in ever watching any of the live streams. But yeah, so we're expanding the African area of our zoo. It's called Trails of Africa. And so now we have, we already had the Indian elephants, so now we have the African elephants, and just tried to make this habitat a lot different than the other elephant habitat, and it's a lot more open. It's still pretty big. I don't know that it's as big as the other one. And then of course we have the big dome there, which is actually just acts as their shelter. So it's pretty cool. I'm probably gonna put the whole habitat on the Steam Workshop, so make sure you check that out as well. I wanted to make like a little kind of like land bridge just made out of rocks for the elephants so that they could walk over, and I think it was pretty cool. But yeah, so like I said, the time lapse is pretty short, but we're gonna get into the real-time gameplay, and we're gonna show you a whole bunch of updates that have been made to the zoo, especially here in the African area. Big changes with like the staff area and like the little sunken area where the safari ride is and the bonobo habitat is. So we got lots to look at, so let's go ahead and jump into the real-time gameplay. Alright, and here we are, and here is our African elephant habitat. Mostly completed. Well, the habitat itself is completed. We still have work to do, like right here for the guests. I want to put, so you can see, I made like a little trench, and then we are making use of the invisible habitat barrier so that guests can just come right up here and see them. And like right here, you get like pretty close to the elephants. You look at them, you get a nice view of everything. You get a super cool view of the elephant dome there. And if you did notice in the time lapse, but maybe not, I actually did rotate this a little bit because I originally had the entrance facing out this way, and the whole point of this, and I went into this on the on a live stream when we built this, is it has a perfect straight on view when the guests are entering the zoo like this. So you can see, like if you're standing here, you see right across it. And originally I wanted I guess the front of the dome to be facing this way, but I realized, you know what, it still looks super cool from this back here, or from up here, I guess, the front of the zoo. So it still draws your eye and be like, oh really, that's a sweet building, I want to go see what it is. And then once you come over here, you see the front of it. I think it's more important that the front of it is here where the guests are going to be standing. But yeah, I think it's pretty cool. It's, you know, fairly simple. And here, like I said, we have the rock bridge, and it is traversable by the elephants. They can walk across it. Whether or not they actually will, I don't know. But it actually, as you can see, is more or less more useful for the keepers, because he can come right over here and feed, or fill up the feeder and clean up any messes that he may need to as well. So if anything, I guess it's more of a shortcut for the keepers, but the elephants can go across it. It is traversable. So yeah, this is our African elephant habitat. I think it's looking really cool, and you can see I did like a little rock wall kind of lining the lake here, and I actually extended the terrain out so the lake kind of went along here kind of like where this dirt path, well, not a path, but where this dirt is right here. So it kind of went along here and then met up over here. So I just kind of extended it out here a little bit for the sake of the elephants, just so that they had a little bit more room, which I did that originally because the kind of the entrance to the dome was right here. But now that I'm kind of looking at it, I'm thinking, well, we probably actually don't need that, and we can make it a little bit smaller because we are well above the elephants. Got notifications. The elephants' land requirements, so we're doing pretty good. We're in the green, so we could afford to, if we wanted to, make this kind of cut this land back a little bit. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. And you may recall, so here are our staff buildings. We used to have them like right in the middle here, and they were here mostly. It was mostly temporary. We just needed them to be able to access the bonobos and then the warthogs, and so some changes we made. Obviously, we moved it back here. It is fully themed now, which is great, and it actually services our flamingo habitat. So we have a walk-in flamingo habitat, which is really cool. I love that there are like some animals where the guests can actually walk into the habitat. So the flamingos are one, and you also get a really sweet view of the elephant dome. And we also have the bonobos down here. And I moved the gate, so it used to be over here, and that we had steps that went up and then went to the staff area over here. So since we moved the staff buildings, we moved the gate to this side and had it go up this way. So it's a lot closer. It just made a lot more sense to have the gate on this side of the habitat, because you know the less like distance the staff have to go to get to the habitats, the better. The quicker that they can service them and clean them and add food and all that stuff. So we even made a little faux kind of like staff seating area back here. So we got like a little campfire thing, which is just a scenery piece. But yeah, I thought that was just a fun little kind of thing to have in there, just to, you know, add a little bit more detail, a little bit more realism to the zoo. I also really like, you know, we always try to sort of conceal the staff buildings as much as possible. Sometimes you can't always completely hide it, but I like how when you're down here, you just get like a little bit of the view there. And if you kind of head up the steps, I mean, you definitely see more of the building, but I think it fits. Like, it's realistic in my opinion, in that you would still sometimes see like administration buildings and stuff like that when you're in a zoo. They're not always 100% hidden. But then like if you're right here, you can't really see it at all. And if you're in the flamingo habitat, you get like a little bit of it. We also, this is why, one reason why we added the fence wall here. So it kind of conceals the building. We have the trees there, so you can't really see much of it at all. And you know, it just fits in with the whole, you know, kind of trying to keep it realistic and make sure that guests only see the things that you really want them to see, right? The other thing we did is, so I think this is new since the last episode as well. So this is a little warthog habitat, and it's pretty simple. It was like, I didn't really know what to do because we had this weird sort of corner spot here in between the two paths, and I was like, well, we can just do a small animal that doesn't require a lot of space, and the warthogs were perfect. It was a, you know, a nice little fit. We added like a nice little scenery piece here. We also have a solar panel in here, so we have that nicely hidden away. You can see staff only. And originally when we added this, it was actually part of the work zone that serviced the bonobos. So originally the work zone was bonobos, flamingos, and the warthogs. And this one, just because now, especially now with the elephant habitat, it just didn't make any sense really to have the warthog habitat part of this work zone. So the work zone here is the bonobos, the elephants, and the flamingos. And then I actually added the warthogs to this work zone. And I figured, even though our safari habitat is so huge, it requires, I think we actually have 2 keepers that service it. The warthog was close enough, and I don't think it requires that much upkeep as like this does. So I figure we had enough bandwidth between our keepers here that every once in a while one can come here and check it. And so far it seems to be okay. We haven't had any issues with like this habitat not getting cleaned or animals going hungry, and same with the warthogs. Everybody seems to be actually getting along pretty well. So it worked out for the best. And man, I gotta say, like, I'm really digging how the Africa area of our zoo is coming out. We still have patches of space that still need lots of detail. Oh, another thing I did. So we had originally the river here that came off the lake went this way, right down there. And then this was all terrain right here. And I wanted to build something here, but I wasn't really quite sure what to put there. I was kind of drained on ideas, so I figured, you know what, let's have the water cut through here a little bit. We'll have like a really shallow piece of land in the middle, like a little island, and then what we'll do is add like a retaining wall kind of around here, and I think that'll look pretty nice. We'll probably put some detail in here too, probably just some scenery, trees and stuff. And then, you know, maybe here we'll do like, I don't know if we want to do sort of like a main street kind of area where we just have like a line of shops and buildings here. And then same with this area, we need to put something here. Again, maybe it'll just be scenery, you know, it'll just be a little patch of trees and whatnot. But you guys, absolutely feel free to give me your suggestions and what we should do in these areas, because like I said, I have my own ideas, but totally welcome and open to your ideas and suggestions as well. The other thing we need to do is eventually, at some point, finish this building here. This is our combination viewing platform slash, it's going to be like a little food court area. So this part out here is going to be outdoors, and then everything from this wall this direction is going to be indoors. That still obviously has quite a ways to go. We may work on that in a live stream. Maybe it'll be a video here for you guys. I'm not quite sure, but either way, we'll have it recorded so you'll get to see when that's updated. What other updates we did? A small thing here, just added some details on the steps. I think it just really makes it look so much better when you have steps like this and you add detailing around it. Like it makes it look like it fits and it's supposed to be part of just, you know, like it exists in the world or something. I don't know how to explain it. It just seems more realistic to me. We did a similar thing over here. So for like the longest time, these steps going down were not themed or anything. So we finally did that, and I think like it looks so much better. I don't know what it is about that I like so much, but it just fits so much better. We did the same thing over here, which actually I just realized these steps don't have any railings, so I'll have to add those. So we have a nice little themed bridge going all the way over here. And yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I don't think we have any other updates in the zoo. Trying to think what else we could have done, but I mean, like I said, I think that's pretty much it. But I don't want to say that's it, like it's not a lot. We've you know, the last 2 episodes were just on our education center building here. And I don't think we had anything over here in those 2 videos. So yeah, I mean, all of this I think is pretty new since the last episode, except for down here we did have the safari ride, but it wasn't detailed. Now it's nicely detailed. In this middle section, this will probably just be like a little neutral area. Won't have anything. We'll just fill it up with trees and things. You know, maybe we can have some shops along here on the along the path. I want to put something in between these 2 paths. I was thinking again we could do a line of shops here. We could do another habitat maybe, like another smaller habitat with some other kind of small African animal. But it's coming along very, very well. I hope you guys are liking it. I hope you're excited for our African elephants. They're so, he just pooed, but they're just like so majestic, and they move so slowly, and they just take their time. Love their big floppy ears. So fun. But yeah, I think that's gonna pretty much do it for this episode. So definitely, please leave me your suggestions down below. Things you would like to see added to the zoo. The things I talked about before, as far as like what we should place in those kind of empty areas. Definitely would love to hear your guys' thoughts. So be sure to leave your comments, suggestions, and feedback down below. I am 8-Bit Josh, and thanks for watching. See ya.